And welcome. Glad to have you here today. Good afternoon, and let's just start from the beginning. Today we're going to talk about update on your updates. So, this is Go for Lunch for September 20th, 2022, brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host. If you're new here, please type new in the comments so we can welcome you. And our mission today, as always, is to make your technology work for you. And today we're going to do that by talking about updates. So, why wait to update to the latest operating system? You hear so much about all the new features that are coming out in new operating systems, and you may really want to take advantage of those, but listen to this first before you jump into the bleeding edge of technology. So let's talk about the process that a software developer, especially Apple, goes through when they're developing a new operating system. The first part is called alpha testing. That's done inside the company, where they test the software in various different ways against different well-known programs and pieces of hardware. Then they do the beta test program, which is released to certified Apple developers. That comes out at the Worldwide Developers Conference in June. So the developers have from June until September, or this year October for some things, to make sure that their software works with the operating system. Then in July, Apple releases a public beta so that mere mortals can test the new operating system and give feedback and hopefully find even more bugs that can be squashed before the golden master, which is when it's released to the unwashed masses. So when that happens, there are many more combinations of hardware and software than could be tested. So there still needs to be some updates to take care of even more bugs that weren't previously discovered. So let's look at some examples of what's going on right now with iOS 16. So this is a Twitter user whose account is called "Is iOS 16 Stable?" And he has a scorecard here for different categories: battery drain, app crashing, new feature usability, overall stability. They all get 6 out of 10. And his conclusion is the answer to "is it stable?" is no. So there's a lot of chatter on Twitter. So let's go to Twitter. So I did a search on Twitter on iOS 16 problems, and here's what came up. So here's a person that's saying that the iPhone 14 Pro is great, but it's being slowly overshadowed, I don't know how slow that is, by an apparent avalanche of iOS 16 bugs, including camera issues, activation issues for FaceTime and iMessage, and eSIM problems. So as we scroll down through Twitter here, you'll see a lot of people asking if anybody else is having the problems they're having. Here's a game developer saying, "Don't update if you want to use our game." And here's another problem. So here's an old post from August. A little reminder from Apple that if you're eligible for the education discount, buying an iPad, you can get a $100 gift card. And so here's an example of another problem. So it keeps on going. Here's the newly reintroduced battery percentage icon. There's an issue with that. and this is just cute. So this person thinks that there are more problems with the final iOS 16 than there were in the betas, which is not the way it's supposed to work, folks. Isn't that cute? So we are... Okay, so we'll just move on since that's not working. So here we have on the Cult of Mac website a article about how the iPhone 14 Pro camera shakes. So this brings up the fact that maybe you don't want to be an early adopter of a new iPhone because it could have hardware problems. So this affects TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. Of course, if you don't use those apps, then it's not a problem because the built-in camera app is not having this problem. So when we do another search here for iOS 16 problems, this time on 9 to 5 Mac, we have a problem with the again the battery percentage icon, a problem with 3-finger gestures, again the problem with iMessage and FaceTime, problem with App Store errors when installing updates. Here's a problem with saying that Apple will be bringing out a software update to fix some of these problems next week. And then this is a reminder that the iPad OS 16 will not be out until next month. And then here's another problem. An Apple executive confirms that an incessant iOS 16 clipboard paste permission is a bug. So you can see that these are all problems. So, how do you avoid getting trapped with these bugs? Well, you turn off your automatic updates in iOS. You do that by going to Settings, General, Software Update, Automatic Updates, and turn the switch off where it says Install iOS Update. So we're going to go to our iPhone here and click on Settings. You can see that's towards the bottom right. And then in the third section, General. And the second one is Software Update. And then the top of the screen, it says Automatic Updates. So while we're here, you notice that I'm on iOS 15.7. If you're on iOS 15 and you haven't updated to iOS 15.7, you should do that because it has an important security update. So back up to Automatic Updates, we'll touch that. And you'll notice you have two switches here. I have Download iOS Updates turned on. That just downloads it, doesn't install it. And I have the Install turned off, as you should as well. So again, that's go to Settings, General, Software Update, Automatic Updates, and Install iOS Update is turned off. So what if you want to turn off automatic updates on your Mac? Well, then you go to System Preferences, Software Update, which I just noticed is misspelled, and then you uncheck Automatically Keep My Mac Up to Date. So let's see what that looks like. So down here in my dock, I have the System Preferences. I'm going to click on that. And down here in the lower right portion of System Preferences is Software Update. And then you can see I have unchecked Automatically Keep My Mac Up to Date. Now, here's something to notice, that this is asking me to update to the next operating system, which I will do since we're almost on the following operating system. So it's about time for me to do that. Before you do an operating system update, though, you want to make sure that any software that you're using that may be older will work with that new operating system. So if you have an old graphics program or photography program, check with that developer and make sure it'll work with the operating system that you're planning to update to. And if it doesn't, then you may want to wait or find another program that does the same kinds of things that will work with the latest operating system. So here we are back in the Finder. So make note that here under Other Updates Are Available, there's a little blue link here, easy to miss. So when you click on More Info, you'll see that I'm on Big Sur, and there's an update for Big Sur available for 11.7, and there's also an available update for Safari to take it to 16.0. And I haven't done these, so I could show you what it looks like, and I will do these later today by clicking on Install Now. So again, on the Mac, to turn off automatic updates, you go to System Preferences, Software Update, and uncheck Automatically Keep My Mac Up to Date. So we've told you when not to update and how to prevent automatic updates, but when do you update? Well, we have been saying for years you should wait until the .3 version comes out for the operating system you're thinking about. So in this case, we're talking about 16.3 for your iPhone and your iPad. On your Mac, we would wait until, first of all, you can't even get it until next month, but we would wait before you go to Ventura for macOS 13.3. So again, you would do a search on the internet that would say macOS 13.3 problems, and see what the chatter is, see if there's any major problems that haven't been resolved, and again, any problems with any software that you're using before you would do that update. So if you haven't already, please type in your questions or comments in the comments there on the right-hand side of your screen. And please forward the GoFor Gazette to anybody you know that uses Apple products so we can help more people. If you haven't already, click the little thumbs up down below to like this YouTube Live. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We're just a few subscriptions short of 100, so that would help us out. And when we reach 100, tonight, the Tucson Macintosh user group meets on Zoom. So at 6 p.m., the Ask Me Anything session starts. At 7 p.m., the general meeting starts featuring software and security updates, a review of the new products that Apple announced in the last couple of weeks, and I will be doing a session on how to make sure your backups are working. So when you need them, they will be there. The link for the Zoom meeting is in the GoFor Gazette. So if you look in your inbox, find the GoFor Gazette, which came out Monday morning at 7 o'clock. You can just click on that link to join the T-Mug on Zoom. So let's see who's here. Thanks, Bob. So Bob wants to know if I've had any clients who have been bitten by the early update syndrome, and as far as I know, the answer is no. So hopefully I've been able to get the message out to everybody through the GoFor Gazette and through GoFor Lunch and in person that you don't want to be an early adopter of any of these operating systems. And maybe not even an early adopter of the new iPhone 14, because there seems to be some problems there. And actually, you won't be an early adopter of the iPhone 14 Pro because the delivery dates have slipped into late October, last I heard. So there is quite a demand, and good to see the Phil and Phyllis show are here. So hopefully this reinforced what I've been saying about not going to the new operating system as soon as possible. So if there are no other questions, please let me know if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover on Go for Lunch. And you can get in touch with me by calling the phone number or emailing me at the address that is coming up right now. Have a great rest of your week.